King Bruthengweld, I request most humbly your audience.
Yes, come on in. I'm sorry, I'm having a hell of a day. My pantaloon shrunk in the royal streams. My pet vole Methuselah seems to be afflicted with a stomach bug, and I'm losing against Priest Ethelberg the Gwyndy and Tiddlywinks. I'm most perplexed, I don't mind telling thee.
Well, sire, then I fear this news does not reach you at the most convenient of times. However, I feel it is news that you must know.
Well, spit it out then, man. You don't become king by being afraid to hear a bit of news. I actually became king, for example, by arm wrestling a magic puffin for the keys to Tower Pimscop, where I bested the Tickle Dwarves of Adderglade. And I slept with my sister, but I don't like to advertise that last bit.
Right, sire. Well, I didn't need to know any of that, but thank you for telling me. The truth I come to tell thee is that we have heard tell that Beringorm, the province to the east...
Oh, yes, the one that exports all those wonderful gooseberries.
Yeah, that's the one. Well, there's no easy way to say it. They have a dragon. Well, actually 2 dragons. Well, it's actually more like 3. And they also have a giant gorilla-like ape beast demon which breathes fire and shits ice. If you pardon my colloquialism, sir, but swearing gives us better ratings. As do tits, but I don't think you want to see my tits, do you, King? Oh dear, I seem to have lost my thread.
I'm sorry. Could we go back to that dragon thing? The part about the province which borders ours now having dragons?
Yeah, that's right, sir. Yeah, they do.
Dragons, I see. And something you said, breathes fire and shits ice?
The gorilla ape beast demon does, yes, sir.
Shits ice? Oh, my. Sounds devastatingly painful.
One can only imagine, sire.
I mean, I've had some bad oxen and mead in my time. It's made the old rear end feel a little sore, but I've never had to defecate frozen water.
Yeah, I think we've drifted a little from the point again, sire, because I've also got to tell you something else, and that's that the northern province of Grimdonia, where all the men have patchy and angst-ridden facial hair, well, they just got themselves a mythical Triceratops-type creature, a gigantic eagle that has lasers for eyes, and they just cloned an army of men with crabs for hands. Mystical crabs that don't like cake.
I see. So, right. Spit it out then. What do we have? I mean, we're a proud, technologically advanced nation. We haven't brushed our teeth with twigs like those other pagans have for quite some time. I wiped my posterior with only the finest mosses and leaves from the royal forest, and I've heard tell that our wizard Barold can produce a bunny rabbit from a crown. A most impressive and awe-inspiring feat, I can assure you.
Well, we don't have any abnormally large animals with laser eyes or, I don't know, scorpion buttocks or anything.
But what about a slightly larger than normal squirrel that knows rudimentary kung fu?
We might be able to dig one up, sire, but nothing official has been found yet.
Dash and blast. So I guess we have no real defence against these bizarre and terrifying creatures.
Well, what about Methuselah?
My pet vole?
Yeah, could we put a saddle on him or something? A menacing saddle with big iron spikes and maybe some jaggedy bits of glass.
You want to put some sort of death saddle on my pet vole?
Well, it's just an idea. Elder Serpico of the Thumdidee tribe says there are no wrong answers in brainstorming.
Elder Serpico sounds like a right ass. Well, there's nothing for it. We must build a battle robot the size of a city that can withstand lasers, fire, shitty ice, and crab hands.
Okay, well, I mean, that's a bit logistically difficult. I mean, what do we build it out of, sire, and who should draw up the blueprints? Anyway, it's a moot point, as Grimdonia and Beringorm are already at the city walls.
What? Oh, my goodness, I must hide. Get the wizard to use face-changing spells, and then I'm going to flee.
Oh, no, it's fine, King. They just want to borrow a cup of sugar, and Grimdonia has your nose hair trimmers for returning. Everyone is at peace.
But why the bloody hell didn't you tell me? I mean, you got me all scared of the dragons and stuff, and the shitty eyes.
Well, I'm sorry. I guess I did bury the lead somewhat, didn't I?
You really are a massive twat.
Your lord is too kind. Next week on Thane of Gromes, Basil Whiffenjetter starts an all-out war for the throne of Plursbeer after not putting their garden rake back where he found it, and Lord Rithmagar sleeps with his sister. Don't worry, that episode will definitely have tits in it. And now on Radio Flange Goblet, it's the After Movie Diner, which this week features a cameo from a crazy cat lady. So enjoy that, won't you?
You're listening to the sweet sounds of the After Movie Diner with your host, Jon Cross.
Yes, thank you so much, Spike. He's correct. I am Jon Cross. And just a little message before we head on over to the diner for our chit-chat-a-thon about Atomic Blonde. And that is to say, if you would like to contact or communicate with the After Movie Diner and maybe have your letter read out on air, why not send us an email to hello@aftermoviediner.com. That's hello@aftermoviediner.com or hello@aftermoviediner.com. All versions are available. You can also go to our website, aftermoviediner.com, and fill out the old contact form on the contact page, which is clearly marked under the contact part of the menu. Or you could even call us at 347-669-0053. We want to hear from you, the listener. Well, we don't want to, but, you know, it's polite, isn't it, to ask? Anyway, on to the show. Thank you. Alrighty then, hello and welcome to the After Movie Diner. And here we are in Hollywood. I got you. Actually, it's the Hollywood Diner on 16th Street and 6th Avenue. We're in Hollywood. But as far as you're concerned, we're in Hollywood.
Hollywood.
We don't like people like you in Hollywood. And with me, as always, Jim Wallace.
Hello. Thanks for having me again.
There is
Hawaiian waffle.
There are no. And with us, as always, Hawaiian waffle, which is quite a good name for you.
It is,
because you do waffle a lot.
If I wore the correct shirt, I think that would work quite well.
It would.
If
Well,
I
either the shirt
wore-
or
Right.
would it be like Hawaii? Like like if you could make a pun.
Well, like,
out of
why are
Hawaiian.
you looking to me like that?
Right.
Looking at me like that.
Yeah, Hawaiian, you waffling all the time.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
don't know.
Hawaiian, you waffling all the time. That's good. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. But yeah, that's the extent of our
Hawaiian waffle jokes. Hey, that's more Hawaiian waffle jokes than I was expecting.
Do you know what? The After Movie Diner
Yes,
gets
it's-
more Hawaiian waffle jokes for your money.
Why are we having such trouble saying Hawaiian waffle?
I don't know.
I've nearly said it wrong a whole bunch of times.
Hawaiian waffle, which is also.
I like that. I like that you
Hello,
can.
my
I like that
name
you.
is Hawaiian waffle. Anyway. So yes, we're in Chelsea on 16th Street in New York City at the Hollywood Diner. I'm with Jim Wallace, and we have just been to see
Atomic Blonde.
Atomic Blonde, I just don't understand. Maybe it's a bit more like Atomic Bland.
With Charlize-Theron. Is that right? Is Charlize Theron?
Theron. Is it Theron?
I thought it was Theron.
Charlie Theron.
Charlie Terry.
We just watched
Charlie
Theron in Atomic Blonde.
Atomic Blonde.
Oh, Charlie Theron, you're in Atomic Blonde, and I want to hold your hand. Atomic Blend. This.
And whatever happened to James McAvoy.
And what is he? He's parody Tyler Durden, James McAvoy.
Is he parody Tyler Durden?
In this, he just wears Tyler.
He's Tyler Durden.
It's essentially like they went into Brad Pitt's wardrobe from Fight Club and went, "Yeah, that'll do."
That'll do. Yeah, I noticed that.
Which is totally bizarre considering Fight Club. Like if if Fight Club had been known as a late 80s, early 90s movie, they'd be like right on the money to kind of nod, wink, Tyler Durden.
Right.
But as it is, it isn't. So it has absolutely no point whatsoever, much like the rest of the movie. Actually, a fascinating piece of research on the old IMDb digs up the fact that the director of Atomic Blonde, I mean Atomic Blonde, was in fact Brad Pitt's stuntman on Fight Club. So in fact, it's some weird meta reference to his own career, which is sort of a bit awful. But all right, at least it explains it. I'm not sure. Have you?
I haven't.
No, sorry. Just one more
you.
minute would be great.
Yeah.
Thank you. You don't have to ruin that bit of paper. You can keep it. All right, whatever.
We're killing. After the movie diner, killing the forests one late order at a time.
One tiny little.
It's nice they've got like waffle box, but I don't know.
Are you still going on about waffles?
Well, I kind of fancy a waffle.
You're literally waffling about waffles.
I am waffling about waffles.
Waffle
Figure out what
box.
I want. I don't want.
There is actually literally a part of the menu called the waffle box.
Hollywood breakfast.
We got pictures of Elvis, Marilyn Monroe, Lauren Hardy.
Avocado, cheddar.
Ooh, avocado. Avocado.
That sounds pretty good.
I always think that avocado should be said in a northern accent.
Avocado.
Where you go, avocado. I've just had one.
Avocado.
Go on, avocado.
Avocado.
I've just
Go
had
on,
one.
avocado.
I've had two today. I'm trying to cut down.
Those bloody cardos.
Trying to cut
Can
down.
only have one.
What are the what were the special sandwiches in this menu?
I can't remember. There's too many things and yet also not enough. You know what I mean?
They do have it.
There is that thing with the diner, right?
They have a thing called sun-dried
Right?
tomato wraps, which I think is pretty specific.
Yeah, well, no, I know.
One sun-dried tomato wrap, fine, but they've got a whole section of them.
Oh, there's just a whole section of sun-dried tomato wraps. But you get to the thing where you like open the menu in the diner and you think, yes, you've got that, and yes, you've got this, but where are the things that I don't know what they are? Do you know what I mean?
No, I've no idea. If you didn't know what they are, why would you know how to look for them?
But I don't know.
I run rings round you logically.
I just want to be surprised.
Well,
like
what
a
do
bit
you mean?
surprised.
This menu has like 500 pages. This has like Greek specialties.
Where's the Greek
seafood.
specialties?
Greek specialties is on page 17, between the pictures of Jack Nicholson and Robin Williams, and Elvis Presley and whoever that tart is next to him.
Marilyn Monroe?
No. There's even the early bird specials. I think we're a bit late for that.
Maybe I'll have a...
I'm going to get a milkshake though. I'm going to get a black and white milkshake.
Alright.
They've even got surf and turf if you want to spend $42 in the
Why
diner.
anybody would get fish in a diner is beyond me.
$42.
$42?
Yeah, for surf and turf.
It's like, why would you...
Because it's a lobster tail stuffed with clams.
And it sounds good, but do you really want, like, Hollywood diner 6th Avenue clams?
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, that sounds like a euphemism for a sex disease, like 6th Avenue clams. No,
Right.
I've got a case of the 6th Avenue clams.
I'm also a bit worried that if you ordered the Greek specialty in Chelsea, it would just be a large man named Nikos in a small towel.
Like, too small.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He has to keep moving it around.
Of course, now I'm going to get letters that that's somehow a
Letters.
anti-gay joke.
Letters.
It's not. It's a pro-gay joke. I like Nikos in a small towel. I just wouldn't want one
That's
for
okay.
dinner.
Not anti-Greek, maybe, but...
No, but I said Chelsea. No, it doesn't matter.
Oh, I missed that.
Right.
I'm so sophisticated.
Have you decided what
Have you?
I have, yes.
Okay, well...
I would like 2 eggs over easy with ham. Could I get that with French fries, please? And do you have rye as a choice of toast with that?
Rye toast?
Because it comes with fries and toast, right?
I think I'll get the... I'm going to get the Hollywood breakfast.
Sandwich.
Yeah. And a cup of tea. Just an English breakfast with milk. Thank you.
And I will have a black and white milkshake, please.
Thank you very much. Cheers, man. Thank you.
Excellent.
So I think we
You
ordered.
did well because I got an $8 sandwich. So your quid's in, mate.
What is the Hollywood breakfast sandwich? I didn't see it on the
Egg
menu.
whites, cheddar, avocado.
Avocado. I've had one already. I'll never get tired of saying that.
And bacon, turkey bacon.
I think Marie's got three in the back.
Yeah. I am sorry.
Yes,
She should see somebody
it's
about
a terrible time sitting
She
down.
should see somebody.
I don't know why a northern wife would be called Marie. It's the first name. Mary, it would have been probably. Mary. Oh, anyway, nobody cares about any of this gumph. Not that they care about our review for
Atomic Blonde, or they won't.
Apocalypse
If they liked
Blonde, or
it.
whatever it was called.
Stop listening now if you thought Atomic Blonde was anything other than shit.
If you thought Atomic Blonde was
Not shit.
then I would stop
Turn your
listening.
ears away now.
Turn your ears away now, because I'm sorry.
It was shit, right? I mean, it was just.
Yeah, it was, and we'll get into it. But like, this, for people who don't know, a quick catch up. I kind of went on hiatus over the summer.
And it was Baby Driver's
I didn't
fault.
kind of release anything. Well, it wasn't, but like it kind of Baby Driver played into it. But essentially, we weren't meant to be on hiatus. Jim and I did actually go and see a couple of movies. One of which was called The Bad Batch, which was all right, to be fair. It just wasn't like it was at the start of me feeling a bit pish over the summer. And I was just like 50-50 on it and whatever, and it was a bit long and I didn't feel like editing it and da-da-da-da. So I just never released it. But I do have plans to maybe release that episode. And then the next one we did was Baby Driver, which I never released because it is hands down one of the most depressing listens I've ever. I'm not even kidding. Like halfway through, you actually hear me sigh the sigh of the damned, and then I go, I really don't want to talk about this anymore. Like it's for anyone who follows Dr. Ash and the Kick-Ass Kid, they know that the movie The Bad Pack damn near killed us, and halfway through the commentary for The Bad Pack, we both just wanted to shoot each other in the face. Not because of anything that each other were doing, just because of how bad the film was.
Right.
And then the same went for Baby Driver. Like it represented the nadir, the lowest point of the diner, and I was just like, I don't really feel like releasing that. So then we bounced back, and then I did the Grease episode, and then we just released the Scarecrow episode, which everyone should go
terrific
listen
numbers,
to.
terrific numbers, I hear.
No one's listening to the Scarecrow episode, so go fucking listen to
Because
it.
it's the first one I'm back in. I'm
Gene-
not interested in that.
So wait a minute, we thought we got rid of him. We thought we'd gone back to having guests on the
I thought the after movie down a hiatus was like code for taking Jim out the back and shooting him in the back of the head.
They were worried that the hiatus meant that I'd put you into a big duffel bag in different little pieces and then distribute you
Worried
up and down
or
the Hudson.
hoped?
Hoped and worried.
Hoped
maybe.
and worried.
I'd
Worried
say
for you in case you got
50-50.
caught. Yeah.
No, that wasn't the case. It was just that I was feeling a bit low, as happens.
It's much better now.
Baby Driver was sort of, imagine feeling pretty low and then getting repeatedly kicked in the nads and face by...
sort of a basic fundamental filmmaking incompetence.
Yeah, but that was inhabited in the body of Gary Busey. Imagine that, like a wild, unpredictable, insane Gary Busey laughing about hobbits, while also kicking you in the nads and face, while Baby Driver played in the background. It was kind of like that. And then, so we thought, okay, fine. So then we went and saw Scarecrow last week. It was wonderful. And this week came out. Oh, no. And then we went to see The Dark Tower, which that episode you will have already heard, because hopefully it'll come out before this one. Which we were kind of 50-50 on again.
Again, I think we enjoyed...
But at least we
I enjoyed
it
talking
up
to
until
you. Yeah,
point. Right.
I enjoyed talking to you about that because I couldn't put my finger on why it didn't work, and talking to you about it made me realise why it didn't work, and it felt it was like a rewarding conversation to have about the film.
Right, because it was... Oh,
even
sorry.
if the film was flawed.
Sorry, that
didn't do
was
anything.
mustache water.
Nobody's ever said moustache water to me before. Thank you very much.
We'll have English breakfast. We'll have English.
Okay. No. No.
It's that
probably that one I would say. Oh, great. What's that one? Lemon Zing. No. Thank you.
That's perfect. Thanks so much. That was sweet.
Yeah, that was very nice.
Last week it was one of those where we could both see what they were going for, and so we were kind of able to enjoy it without actually fully recommending it, which is absolutely fine. That's a worthwhile experience.
Absolutely.
But unfortunately, Atomic Blonde must go into the satchel marked Modern Life.
Marked
marked Modern Life is rubbish.
Yeah. I will say this, while I was watching, I was thinking, the thing about... This is making me feel better about Baby Driver. Because what annoyed me about Baby Driver was, it was just really... Like, what it proved was Edgar Wright wants to make a good film. He wants to make a fun film. He wants it to be exciting. But he's got literally no idea how to make that happen unless somebody writes a script for him.
Right.
And then he can do something with it. But if he has to write the script, he's literally got no clue.
Right.
And it was just annoying and boring and empty and dull and shit.
Right.
But he wanted to make... Like, I will watch another Edgar Wright film, as long as it's not written by him.
Right.
And I'll probably quite enjoy it.
Right.
However, whoever made Atomic Blonde is, like, let's be honest, and I've never met the man, but he's a solid gold belly. Let's face it, right? And you can tell watching this film going, you, mate, are just a... I would meet you at a party, and I would maybe stand 5 seconds before hating your fucking guts.
Right.
It was so... Everything about it was that thing where it's like, everybody is fucking cool. Everybody's so cool. This is all cool. That's cool. This is cool. Everything happening is cool. And nobody's funny.
Right.
Nobody says anything funny. They just say things that are so cool, they're kind of funny.
No, I mean, it is...
It's garbage.
I mean, it is garbage, but it's one of the worst cases. And look, and I'm not... The one thing I'm not going to do is get into some, like... negativity spewing downward spiral of like hate and aggression about this movie.
There'll be a stand by for another hiatus.
No, I just don't want to do that. Like,
I get
we
it.
both agree we didn't like it, but I don't want to kind of just relentlessly go.
Yeah, but
on
I feel okay about kicking this one because the guy that made it is obviously a ballet.
To you,
and
that's
I think it's
fine.
okay to give him a kicking.
No, I would say that.
I feel bad about giving Edgar Wright a kicking because I think he does genuinely mean well.
Yeah, but I also think he's probably a bit of a ballet.
Yeah, he probably is a bit of a bellend, but like a nice bellend. Do you know what I mean? Like a bit annoying.
Sort of a bellend that we went to school with, and you kind of
You
go,
kind of hang
all
around
right,
with
give him a chance.
Like, around a pub table, you have like after a few pints one afternoon, you'd have like a nice 10-minute chat with them, and you go, oh, Edgar Wright, he's not bad actually. Previously, I thought he was a bit of a bellend, but actually, he's all right.
He'd have some
But this bloke
ill-informed
is
opinions about horror movies.
This bloke would be like, why is this bloke pecking on me?
Like, Edgar Wright's definitely above Eli Roth in the annoying bellend stakes. Definitely.
Well, I haven't seen any Eli Roth films.
Well, that's because you... Okay, so if you've never seen Eli Roth, it means you haven't watched a documentary in the last 15 years, because he has been on every single documentary.
Well, he's doing a documentary for AMC.
Thank you.
Which I saw like a press release or something saying Eli Roth is doing a documentary on horror for AMC, and I remember thinking, well, that's going to get right up across his nose, that one.
Well, no. What? Okay, so there are two people. I have a running joke with the Bloodbaths and Boomstick guys. But there are two people that literally, it doesn't even have to be about movies anymore. They have literally all movies that they're involved in, all movies that they've ever seen, it doesn't matter. Like, Eli Roth and John Landis will turn up in every single documentary about everything ever. Like, they have become the talking heads of doom. Like, if I'm watching a documentary about movies or an extra feature on a DVD about movies, and Eli Roth's face suddenly comes on, I do scream like one of those eternal, the demons and goblins of hell are dragging my soul into the bowers of dark domain kind of screams. Like, right. If he comes up on the screen, I'm just like, ah! Like, buy a t-shirt that fits, you fucking douchehole. Like, I really just, Anyway, so I think Edgar Wright's better than him.
Yeah, sure. I think Edgar Wright's alright. I mean, he made Spaced, he made Shaun of the Dead, he made the Cornetto trilogy, and he made Spaced.
Right. So
we know.
Hang on, I don't want to go back over that.
He's a good lad.
So
I'm saying that makes him a good lad.
I understand. For people who want to hear what we felt about Baby Driver,
I don't want to get into Baby Driver.
I'm
merely saying that whoever directed the Hotline is a bellend, and I think that Edgar Wright's probably okay.
See, now, the worst I would say about it...
No,
not the worst I would say about it, but the worst I would say about the direction is that it is massively style over substance.
Yeah.
And even the style
gets irritating about 30 minutes in.
I know. I could have used a few more montages set to 80s music.
Yeah, and I could have
There
also...
wasn't enough of that.
Do you know what there wasn't enough of?
How long do you think
No,
the
hang on a
movie
second, hang on a
went
second. So,
between like montages?
we went 30 seconds at best. 20, anyway. So, visually, like it looks good, meaning like the lighting looks good, the composition
it's like
fine.
a perfume commercial.
No. It's like a movie that's trying to look like a cross between a David Fincher film and a music video from 1989.
No, it looks like one of like a Charlize Theron, you know, like where they get shown into the back bar where the real party's happening.
Oh yeah,
that kind of thing.
A
That's the
vodka
lighting.
commercial.
Yeah, vodka commercial. Yeah, exactly.
Well, it was. It was a
fucking vodka
stark
commercial.
vodka commercial
Yeah.
throughout the whole film. But
I've got to get milk. Hang on, I've got to get milk.
okay.
It's the Jim Wallace going to get milk break. I thought I'd sing a little song just for you. Oh, 'cause Jim Wallace is going to get some milk, mate. And so what else is a man like me to do? Oh, it's the Jim Wallace going to get milk break. It's the Jim Wallace.
Like I was a madman for wanting tea. I mean milk.
No, so I have to say this because it kind of plays into my overall opinion on the thing.
Fair
So,
enough.
I'm trying to explain.
Great, thanks very much, man. Thank you.
Yes, it looks a bit like a vodka commercial. Yes, I understand what you mean. But it is... and it also looks a bit kind of computer gamey. Like, in fact, it reminded me a lot of kind of the more modern computer games.
Yeah,
it reminded
yeah.
me a bit of like the Hitman computer
Yeah,
games.
yeah.
But it's like it's well lit, right? It has no
You
idea.
can see the badness. You can see how empty it is.
So it has no idea about editing. It has no idea about matching soundtrack to action.
No.
It essentially just goes.
And they had enough practice
Oh, they
to
did.
match the soundtrack to the action.
It falls into that trap of, I've seen Edgar Wright and I've seen who's your Kingsman? Matthew Vaughn. Do that. Like, for example, here's a great example.
Right.
Kingsman starts right with the Money for Nothing song. The Dire Straits Money for Nothing song,
Right.
as it pans over Afghanistan or wherever it's meant to be, some desert Middle Eastern locale, right? And then goes into an action sequence and da-da-da-da-da. But you get that, like, that build-up over the black at the beginning with the titles, with that, I want my MTV. And then as the guitar starts, whatever, the shot comes up and the helicopter's flying over the thing. And you're like, because what you've done is you've taken a cool song that, like, is kind of cool but isn't cool but is now kind of cool again, kind of song.
It's easy to make cool because it is cool.
And you've put it over with the use of timing, editing, and shot composition, something that works. And then you've paced it in a way that fits it. Like, there's no sharp edits, there's no irritating, like, bits where the music doesn't quite fit with the speed of the camera. There's none of that. Like, it just fits, right? So this is a director who's seen that, and he's seen Edgar Wright films. Oh, and he's definitely seen two other films. He's seen The Raid, and he's seen Hardcore Henry. And I'll get on to that in a minute. So most of the film is shot, like you said, like a vodka commercial, party behind the party thing. Lots of neon, lots of grayness. She dresses like a runway model throughout the entire thing, despite the fact that they're meant to be covert spies in East Berlin. Which all it made me think of when every time East Berlin came up on the screen was
Let's spend our honeymoon in East Berlin
with Griff Rhys-Jones.
Let's spend our honeymoon in East Berlin. And though like lemmings we will never swim,
by the way, I would rather have watched that music video on a loop for 90 minutes than watch this film. I might do that one day.
If they remade Atomic Blonde with Mel Smith instead of charlize-theron. No, I'm saying, but back in the day.
Right.
That would have been amazing.
Her name is Charlize-theron.
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 Charlie.
Hi, Charlie-theron. Charlie-theron. Hi.
Avocado.
Avocado.
Charlie's got 3.
Charlie's got 3 behind him. So, I go through it. So, yeah.
Lumps of it round.
Look, lumps of it round the back. I know where to get it if you want it.
God, I love Gillian. We are still recording. We are.
Okay, good. Thank God.
Thank God, people need this gold. So yeah, it's filmed like that. But it attempts. I would say about 5 times in the film it attempts to have. I mean, it has way more like hip songs in it. But what I mean is, it attempts about 3 or 4 times in the film to match up 80s. Like now, that's what they call the 80s music with an action sequence, and fails spectacularly each time. Like the Wham song when she's taking out the bad guys didn't work at all. And then what was even weirder was it really didn't work. She jumps out of the building, the music stops playing, you're like, oh, thank God he stopped trying to do that then. She beats up 2 more soldiers, then she pulls her turtleneck down, and then you hear like the last line of the song, like breathily done before she walks away, and I was like, oh wait, he thought it really did work. Like that's why he included that last bit. But it didn't work because the editing was off, the pacing was off, whatever. So that's the first. And lastly, there was a whole action sequence which I thought was the end of the movie. It was actually about 30 minutes before the end of the movie.
Oh, the thing in the stairway?
The thing that was essentially shot all in one thing. So
because I went for a piss, and when I came back, I thought, oh, I'm in a different movie because this is quite good. Like the bit where they're in the sea and the room, that was good. That was a good bit.
So there is a film called Hardcore Henry, which you might not have heard of.
I've heard of it, but I never saw it.
Sholto Copley.
Yeah. The first person.
Right. And I was really super hoping to love Hardcore Henry because I love Sholto Copley. Like, Sholto Copley should be in everything, and he isn't. Sholto Copley made that awful Blomkamp film about Elysium. He made that watchable. That was so bad after the first one, District 9, being so good. Elysium was so bad. Anyway, it's a first-person movie where Sholto Copley plays multiple characters helping out this first-person guy, and it's essentially a series of death-defying stunts and action set pieces and everything else that all seemingly is shot without a cut. The trouble is, it's also shot without a plot, without any characters, and therefore without me really caring.
Yeah.
But that technique, mixed with the technique of the raid, which was also used in the John Wick nightclub sequence, which is essentially the raid pioneered the idea that we can put a cameraman in amongst the action and it can go 360 without you seeing the camera, but seeing all the action as if it's like one fluid, realistic movement. So in the sequence where, and you didn't see this because you went for a piss, but essentially McAvoy and Theron take your man from Marsden, Eddie Marsden, playing the Stasi officer, out into the street. All the people who are with Theron put up umbrellas so that the assassins who are with McAvoy can't shoot at them. McAvoy then shoots Marsden. She escapes. They run into an abandoned building where the assassins are, and then she fights off assassins. During the sequence where she fights off assassins, it's essentially meant to be all one take, although there are cuts hidden in whip pans. So there's a lot of whip pans and then like the cuts. But it was essentially the most effective sequence in the movie in terms of action. It comes way too late. Like, wait, you've already zoned out, tuned off, given up.
Well, I think
But what I'm saying is, so there is a point where I don't know if they got in the dude who made Hardcore Henry. I don't know if they got in the guy who made The Rape, but someone suddenly takes over the movie, and for about 15 minutes,
the
there
second
is-
unit director, maybe.
for 15 minutes, 10 minutes, there is a passably there is a very well choreographed, very well filmed, but only passably interesting action sequence.
Yeah.
The only reason it's not interesting is because you literally at that point don't care about any of them. Couldn't give a shit.
The only interesting thing I liked about it in the whole bit.
And what's interesting about it?
Because
to finish that out.
No, because I want to ask you a question about the
right.
raid and the Hardcore Henry thing. Is the only bit that I thought was interesting and new was at the end where they were so beaten up. They were like staggering towards each other and still going and like throwing punches in kind of, you know what I mean? Like they were like worn out and falling over.
Which would be a nice touch if it was done better, but I almost giggled at that point because it was almost ridiculous.
Well, I quite liked that because I thought that was at least, I mean, not realistic exactly, but I hadn't seen it before anyway.
I just felt like she was massively overacting it, which was a real shame because I normally rate Theron as pretty
She was terrible.
She was really bad in this. But then she didn't have a script to work from. But anyway, so my whole point was basically...
Sorry.
Clearly someone involved in the movie, the cinematographer or the second unit director or something, knew basically what they were doing in terms of filming something. And it's clear that Theron did a lot of like training and does a lot of her own action and da-da-da-da-da. And it's also clear that stunt work and special effects involved in like hand-to-hand action sequences have come a long way and they look pretty good. There was CGI blood still looks a bit fucking dodgy, but it's certainly better than it's certainly come a certain way. And at least at that point in the film, there was something driving the plot, which was she has to get Marsden out. Like suddenly there was a to B thing. This has to happen and da da da.
Yeah.
Which the rest of the film doesn't have at all. It attempts to have, but doesn't. So my only point was to say there was clearly someone behind the thing who knew what they were doing in terms of like visuals. But apart from that, and I would say the costume designer as well. But apart from that, and even included in that, it's massively derivative, massively, and not even derivative in a way where you're like, oh, that's cool, they're borrowing from that. Just massively derivative. And has no real driving force. And for all the good the visuals does it, the acting is terrible, the script is terrible, and the editing is pish. Let us go very quickly then back to the beginning of the movie and just run down essentially like the plot.
All right. Well, I'd like to.
And then go into. Like,
I'd like to run down the plot in a short way.
Yeah, no, it's really short.
In a short way, but also because the thing. My main thing about the film is it should be super cool.
Say that again because I'm blowing my nose.
Okay, are you going to cut that out, or think they're going to have to hear it?
No, I'm going to cut it out.
Fair enough. It's okay if you want to hear it. You want to be real. You know what I mean? You want to Mike Leigh it, because that's reality. Things.
I feel like the avocado skit is a bit Mike Leigh. Avocado, but I'm going to sit wearing dirty underwear on a couch.
I can't afford avocado. I'll have to steal money. I have to steal money from that violent bookie.
Well, marvellous.
I've turned into
Alan Bennett.
Alan Bennett. Alan Bennett's still alive, right?
Yeah.
What are the chances of getting Alan Bennett to play like a Liam Neeson? Do you know what I mean? Like action hero. Oh, I'm terrible.
No, but you might get him to write the avocado.
If you don't give me the microfilm, I'll have to blow your head off.
I was going to be like a film reviewer being like, Mike Leigh's latest film, Avocado, starring Jim Broadbent and who's the bird who's always in it?
Sally Hawkins?
No, Sally Hawkins? Who's Sally Hawkins?
She was in that one that he did.
What was her name? The one who was in Little Voice and played Bubbles in Alpha.
Jane Horrocks.
Jane Horrocks. She's always in Mike Leigh films.
Yeah, fair enough.
Jane Horrocks, Alison Steadman, and Jim Broadbent in Avocado. That looks
Lovely. Thank you very much.
Sure,
Thank you.
so
Wow, this is
much.
great.
Oh, it comes in a croissant.
Yeah, it comes to the croissant. So the reason this film should be good, right, in my opinion, is that it's a really neat idea to have a Cold War like spy drama playing out either side of the Berlin Wall as like, literally in the days the Berlin Wall is coming down, right?
Right.
Because it's an interesting time, 89. You've got like, music and visuals, like this stuff you can play with, and it should be like on the one hand, everything should be there should be like an era of desperation, you know what I mean, and like everything would be dialed up, and the stakes would be much higher. People would want to like smuggle stuff out. There would just be a lot of things going on.
Right.
And to set a story in that place and at that time would seem to me to be, I don't know, like a gift. And I'm sure, right, because this is based on comic book, right? Well, that means it's based on a successful comic book.
Right.
Because no way you make a movie with charlize-theron on it unless, like, people did a comic book well enough that people went, hey, we'll publish a comic book. And then people bought the comic book enough that they made a movie out of it, right? So it must have been good.
But it's also, like, on top of it being around the fall of the Berlin Wall, you've also got, like, the most obvious MacGuffin, which is absolutely fine, the list. And it's a list that, hang on a second.
I'm sorry.
If it falls into someone's hand, a bunch of spies die, which is, like, we've seen that before. But anyway, you've got that. So you've got a situation where you've got the Americans and the Russians and the Germans and the English and all. What?
It's unbelievably good.
Oh, good. Oh, excellent. Sometimes you make a face and I go, oh, shit, he's not liking it.
No, this is amazing.
So you've got all these different players, and essentially they're like booting the list around Berlin like it's a football, while they all kind of have a bit of action and a bit of spying and a bit of whatever. No, I'm just saying, like...
No, I agree.
That's the framework.
Yeah.
But they immediately drop the ball on any kind of intrigue and excitement.
But I agree, like, that's the problem. That's why it's like so badly directed. And why I think the comic book... you have to... even though I haven't read it was like that with that Spader film. You have to imagine the source material must have some merit, especially if like you haven't heard of it, because people made a movie out of it. It wasn't just like Spader or Theron picked up the comic book and went, hey, we should make a movie out of this, and then it just happened. Like, lots of people have to agree it's a good idea to do. But there were loads
Although she did produce it.
Sure. But there were loads of bits in the movie where there should have been like a great line, right? Like when right at the beginning, and I knew I wasn't going to like it, because right at the beginning, the guy gets, just before he gets shot by the KGB agent, he goes, I always thought I would be killed by the best, and instead it's you. And I know, there's something in that, I don't know what the line would be necessarily, but there's a good line in there about, I'm a super spy, which wasn't established, but presumably it might be. And I thought I'd be killed by the best, and instead, just like a final fuck you. And it could have been quite effective. But the language was like, instead I get, it's the biggest cunt in the KGB. It's like, I don't know, it was just like, the opportunity was there. The opportunity for a great line. And the line wasn't there. And I can't help feeling that whoever wrote the script, because I'm pretty sure whoever wrote the script didn't write the comic book, just, because you have to
I think the director wrote the script.
No, it was a different guy.
His name came up twice.
He might have been a producer, but no, he didn't write it. Some guy named, I can't remember, but it was a different guy.
Oh, okay.
But it was like, in adapting it, he wanted to make the lines like punchier, and ended up everything was like everything was smack you in the face. There was no wit or subtlety, and all that stuff about that this story is taking place around the Berlin Wall. It's like totally, like you're saying, they just dropped it, and there's just a basic lack of.
Well, so what you're talking about? What you're talking about with the dialogue,
right?
Is, and I can't really give a good example. I mean, yes, I can. Something like the Hitman computer games, or something like Grand Theft Auto, or where these computer games, that, let's be fair, do not have much of a plot. They don't have much of a script. But they get a bunch of, like, character actors to do the voices, with the odd occasional famous person. And in between, like, each level of the computer game, you get a kind of...
Right, it was like that.
Badly animated movie bit, right?
Yeah.
Where whoever the characters are talk about Yeah, and Grand Theft Auto is like, they're two like Russian cousins or whatever who are like, oh, Vlad, we have to go get the cars from wherever, right?
Right.
And it's always like, with the best will in the world, they're trying to make it engaging and interesting. But it's always
but also trying to make it simple as well.
Right, but you're also trying to like, go, all right, get on with it, skip on. Because once you actually get into the computer game, your only objective is like drive your car very fast to this place or whatever, narrowly avoiding people. But this whole movie, the script was written exactly like that.
You're right, it was.
Well, wouldn't you know it, a little bit more research on the old IMDb digs up that one of the 3 writers, Anthony Johnston, actually wrote for video games for his entire career. This is his first film script. So that tells you something about the dialogue, and the 3rd writer has never written anything before. So, like, basically one of the 2 main writers who had any previous experience, Anthony Johnston, wrote for computer games. So, no wonder we picked up on that, huh?
Even the list is like, wait, just wait. All the way through the beginning part of the movie, when he's talking about the list, I go, but wait, why is the list a big fucking deal? Like, the Berlin Wall's coming in and go, oh, it'll prolong the Cold War by 40 years. How? The Berlin Wall is literally coming down.
Because it has all the secrets about all the spies. So therefore they'll suddenly know who's on whose side really, and therefore it will enrage the Russians and the Germans yet again.
Yeah, but that was not clear. Not to me, anyway.
No. But again, this was the other like comparison to the. I almost feel like, unlike you, where you're saying like the comic book might be really good and they hashed it up. I almost feel like this stuck too rigidly to the comic book. Like this felt more like the comic book is like this.
It's possible.
And they tried to do a Sin City on it, but like so, I kind of stick or be remotely faithful to it, just in the way that it was filmed, the way that it was shot. Like there were scenes where she was like sat by the dresser or whatever doing something, probably smoking 500 times, where you almost saw like the comic book panel and how the speech balloons would be positioned and everything else. Like it just rung like of a comic book or a
I know what you mean.
And what I mean by that is that they are two formats where, if we're entirely fair, dialogue, pace and plotting are not a priority. You know what I mean?
That's true.
And that's not to knock.
No, you're right. It's a
visual
visual medium. You're right. It's
but
about
like,
how it looks.
No one. There's very, very, very few graphic novels and/or comic books in the world where you read it and go, "Oh my God, this dialogue is leaping off the page."
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, good point.
It's normally we have to go to, building B Batman and save so and so because he's been kidnapped by the Tiddler or whatever. Like nobody cares. Like just get on with it. So I'm getting so much hate mail from comic book nerds at this point. Don't you understand? It's a vibrant art form.
But no, I agree. It's a visual medium. It's about it takes you along. Like what gives a comic book its urgency, like it's what makes you flip the pages. Like when you're reading a book, what makes you flip the pages is like the words and how they're constructed and like how the sentences read and how they play out in your brain, and that's what gets you be like, oh my God, what's going to happen next, kind of thing.
Right.
And in comic books, it's all about what you're seeing, like where's the character going next and what's it going to look like and blah blah blah. And that's what's making you turn the pages and get engaged in the story, not as you rightly say, like zippy zap zap dialogue. So you're right. I can believe that that's what's going on. But
so there's
I can also believe.
One sorry, I keep interrupting, but
it's fine. I'm writing interesting to say. I don't. Okay. That wasn't me being sarcastic about how fucking interesting I am. That was a moment of searing honesty.
Right. That's fine. I don't really either. But my point was, the other thing that hampers it is that the ending has like three. I'm not going into it, but like the ending has 3 twists, right?
Yeah. None of which make any sense.
Well, it does, but whatever. Anyway,
no, not in the context of the. Why would? How long have you been?
It does make it makes perfect sense, but and I can't explain it, but I not right now. So
fair enough. I did stop kind of caring about half an hour.
Me too, but like the twist depends on, unfortunately,
Right.
you not knowing who any of the characters are. Because if you had even a whiff of backstory or a whiff of characterization on any of these people, who, by the way, are all ciphers, not one of them has a personality.
No, they don't, do
McAvoy
Nearly
thinks he
does,
has
yeah.
No, he thinks he has a personality. The closest he gets to is being a bit of a wide boy tit. That's the closest his character comes to actually being anything. But mostly you just want him to die horribly with a machete.
Oh, do you remember that amazing bit?
No,
Charlize-Theron.
No one's ever watched this movie and gone, remember that amazing bit.
But there's a bit where Charlize-Theron goes, oh yeah, it's like Machiavelli. And he was like, wow, you know who Machiavelli is? And she went, yeah, I saw it on your bookshelf. And I'm like, we both know who Machiavelli is. We are the shit.
Right.
It's like, what? Everybody knows who Machiavelli is. It's a fucking saying. God, it's like, wow, you know who Shakespeare is. You know, like,
Right.
fuck off, mate.
Anyway,
I'm telling you, Belen.
all right.
Sorry, carry on.
Again, I'm telling you that's in a comic book. I bet you anything.
But it wouldn't have been.
So, hang on a second. No, just because the way it was filmed, because I noticed the book on the bookshelf before they even said that line. Like, I noticed it because the way he filmed it was like, oh, it's off to the side, but by the way, pay attention, kind of thing. So, the ending, essentially, like, for it to work. Sorry.
Thank you very much.
For it to work,
The movie? Or
the movie.
ending?
You're meant to go through the movie thinking one thing, and at the end there be a big reveal, right?
Right.
The problem with it is this:
Right.
is you don't go through the movie really thinking anything,
Except when will it stop?
except when will it start.
I wonder, when's the next 80s song coming?
Right.
Montage. That's what the audience were doing.
See, also when it began, and I'm like, oh wow, they're playing David Bowie, and she's walking
That was
around, and
fucking cool, right?
No, except that I'm like, wait a minute, and it was a bit like the beginning of Baby Driver, because I was watching it, and I'm like, this is a cool song.
Yeah.
This is shot well, like in other words,
Yeah,
like it looks good.
Yeah.
But why isn't this working?
No.
Like it wasn't, like it was, I was willing it to work. Like I was actually sat in the chair going, oh, this could be really cool. Like East Berlin, and they're playing Bowie, and like she's walking around.
I know what it is.
And I'm thinking like,
I know what it
this
is.
could be really cool, and like Jim's gonna love this, and oh, I'm so glad. And I kind of tried to relax, and then halfway through that song, I'm like, this isn't work. Like
I know what
got
it
a
is.
sinking feeling it wasn't working.
Yeah, I know what it is.
was willing for it to work.
It's because what I thought in that moment when the Bowie song started, and then he started like, doing his Bowie 80s thing, I was like, that's right, yeah, Berlin, Bowie, like all the all that weird angular music and that weird angular city, and it should have been
Everything's
like
coming at the weird times today. Anyway, come on.
it should have. What that song was more than anything to me when it first started playing was evocative of Berlin and Bowie and weirdness.
Right.
And we were watching Charlize Theron walk into a building in England. Like, most of your film is set in Berlin, right? That's
Right.
where it's set. And you choose to open it with a Bowie song, with her walking down Oxford Street. It totally negated the purpose of using that song, which is to suggest this atmosphere of this weird, crazy city. And she wasn't in the bloody city.
Yeah, I mean that didn't.
And it was like London Calling, and she was in Paris.
I know.
I mean,
I know.
that's just like incompetently weird. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but it's hip, mate, isn't it? It's hip.
It's like, London, Paris, like fucking thing, isn't it? You bellend.
Bacon.
It's all fucking Europe, isn't it?
So we're in the focus group for Atomic Blonde. And Mr. Wallace here is a bellend. What? It's a bellend.
I'm sorry, mate, because you've got a children's director. I can only feel sorry for you because I can only assume he's a massive tit.
Massive bellend. So, they've decided that the only way to make a spy movie in which people are duplicitous is to give people, like, no discernible character. Like, all we're told about her is that she's an English agent who is going to get a list back that could, like, extend the Cold War, and that their agent there in Berlin has gone like a bit local and a bit feral, right? And there's numerous reasons why that doesn't work, because later on they make it out like, how dare you take him out, and like, how dare you think he's double-crossing us? And I'm like, but you said at the beginning of the movie that he had gone local and feral. Like, you wanted, like, I understood from the beginning of the movie, get the list back and take out McAvoy. Like, from the beginning of the movie, I already understood that. So I was like confused then later on in the movie when Toby Jones was all like, I can't believe you did this, and how can you prove that he was the spy, and da 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 da. Like, I was just like, but you told, but that confused me. Anyway, in order for the ending to work, the screenwriter and the director have decided that instead of setting up a fake character that is then flipped later on, which would at least be interesting and at least give us reason to care about these people as they go through their machinations, instead, she plays it like she's on Valiant.
Yeah.
Right?
And that somebody's put a gun to her dog's head and said, if you do even a remotely convincing British accent, we will kill your dog.
Right.
And if you start getting halfway through a sentence and it looks like you might make it the whole way through without sounding weird and from another planet, we will kill the dog.
But essentially,
so you better at the end of every sentence, out of nowhere, just start talking weird. Even though they're going, but you were doing fine up to that point.
Essentially,
it's like she stopped caring about the accent halfway through every sentence. It was completely insane.
Essentially, this is a film that says, I reckon this was the bet. They sat around a table and they went, we've got this script where Charlize-Theron plays a lesbian and or bisexual assassin, right? Who goes around, like in the 80s, who goes around Berlin like beating people up and shooting people. I bet you $1 million you can't make that film dull. And the director went, right, I'll see you, man.
Yeah, right.
And I'll raise you this
Hey, I know.
film.
What about here's another like staggering piece of like musical incompetence, because the more I think about it, more like right at the end of the film, when like everything's done, it is all over, everything is finished, there is no more action in the movie, it is over, that's when they play Under Pressure.
Yeah.
No, there's no more pressure. The pressure is gone. Any other point in the movie, you could have played that song and it might have worked. Maybe.
Do you know what's funny about
I'm
that?
not making any promises, mate.
Okay.
What
So
the
do you know what's funny about that? You know how
I always feel like he's like taking the piss.
Right. You know
That's
how
so bad.
You know how Ice Ice Baby uses the Under Pressure riff?
Yeah.
There was a weird clip of like MTV saying something along the lines of
sampling.
Like, sampling. Right? Is it whatever? Is it not? Right. All the way through the movie, we've seen her bathing in ice and putting ice.
You thought Ice Ice Baby was going to happen?
I thought Ice Ice Baby was going to come on because it's the beginning of the 90s, end of the 80s, and because she's Ice Ice Baby, like she is the Ice Baby.
That actually would have been quite cool.
Right, and instead it was
never thought I would say that about somebody dropping Ice Ice Baby.
It was Under Pressure, and I was like, oh, well, that doesn't work at all.
It's like, why would you? You're right, Ice Ice Baby would have been great, and I never thought it was. And what was like, oh, she's so emotionally cold. It was just like all of it was. Anyway.
So the other comment I had, and I know I'm talking a lot, but
no, that's fine. I didn't really have anything to say except I was so disappointed about what a great setting it was for a story.
I know.
And how everybody involved just didn't care.
No.
They didn't care what a great the opportunity they had. They had Charlize-Theron, who had to do a better because like I am a double agent. I am from England. Will you? I was born in Cambridge. Now I am not a double agent, though. What? Come in to the Buckingham Palace. And they're like, what should I wear for the tea with the Queen? Where? No, wait, I don't understand. Why would you have the tea with the? Anyway.
First of all, there was no way on earth that she was like the best agent we've ever seen. Because essentially, as far as I can figure out, her agent skill is to go to foreign countries and wear the latest Parisian runway clothing
And shag other agents.
swan about a bit, shag other agents, kill a lot of people openly in public, and literally do nothing covert.
I like the French agent who was like, I only joined up a year ago and now I'm scared. I go, you didn't just like walk into the spy employment office tell me, go, I'd like to be a spy please, sounds exciting. I went, yeah, come in French spy lady, come in. We'll send you to Berlin. How about that? That's like East Berlin. That's when we send our most inexperienced, frightened agents.
Nothing going on in East Berlin in 1989.
You'll be our French representative there. Go for your life.
By the way,
years of training. I'm scared. Let's have sex.
Probably better that you're a lesbian because there is this British agent who we think might be a double agent who just seems to swan around a bit, like a big 6
So she keeps turning up at Paris at not secret meetings with Russian spies.
Well, so anyway, it was a whole thing.
So you had one more thing to say.
Oh yeah. So, okay. So back when I was like 15 through to about 18, 19, and we all smoked back then. We were all smokers, all heavy smokers, and we all thought we were pretty cool. Like the way we smoked, we were like, we are the bee's knees. We are the cat's PJs. We are the dog's nuts. The way we smoke is the sexiest way smoking has ever been done, ever. So when I used to make short films, and John a little bit, but when I used to make short films,
that's right. It always started with you waking up and smoking.
It was always me waking up and smoking.
Long,
and there was
lingering
always
blue lit shots. Of you smoking.
There was always close-ups.
Lovely.
There was always close-ups of the ashtray. Always close-ups of me smoking and everything like that.
There were, yes.
So
you're right. There were lots of ashtray
and you used to take the piss out of me all the time. John would be like,
if I only knew that you were onto something, that you were onto like an action genius trope.
You would say like, John would say, Crossy's made another short film, and you'd be like, let me guess, it starts with him smoking. So, in this movie, first of all, everyone smokes.
Right.
Secondly, James McAvoy, I mean, she smokes a lot in like still quiet shots where she's not saying anything. And I presume she's meant to be like pensive and intelligent, but really it just looks vacant and hollow.
Yeah.
Literally, like she'd slipped into an ennui coma. Like it was like how more bland could I be? The answer is none more bland. I'm so bland. I'm so bland. I'm so bland. Ooh. I'm so bland. I'm so bland. Ooh. I'm the blandest woman that has ever been. I'm the blandest woman you've ever seen. How can I make you understand how bland I am? Maybe I'll call myself atomic bland. But McAvoy, because he decided he was going to play it, like I said, like the aforementioned wide boy tit, he had the most annoying habit.
He did, yeah.
Which was either before every line or in between two lines, he would take a long purposeful drag on the cigarette and go and make this like noise as he was talking. And every time I did it, I wanted to strangle him with like razor wire. He was awful. I mean, I've never been a huge McAvoy fan, but he was. I mean, it could be the worst performance I've seen this year.
Really? That bad?
Hands down the worst performance I've seen this year.
I mean, Theron's was pretty bad.
No, like, Theron just didn't do anything. Like, she just didn't do anything.
Yeah, but the accent was bad.
All right, you got sick of the accent. Like, I didn't even know what accent she was meant to be doing, so I didn't care. But, like, that didn't bother me at all. Theron just was, like, vacant. She was like, how can I look at the camera and do very little, and apparently that's mystique. Which is such a shame, because in Mad Max, she's the best thing about it. Like, she's so good
She
in
can
that.
act. Yeah, she can act. The problem with her in the movie, with her performance in the movie, is any spy. This is the problem in the movie, right? Any spy drama. The reason it works is everybody involved is not a good. None of them are heroes. That's why they're good movies, right? None of them are heroes. They're all looking out for themselves, but at the same time, all of them, while looking out for themselves, are also serving their interpretation, their perception of their country, like the greater good.
But that's what McAvoy is essentially saying in his pretentious monologue at the end.
I don't even remember. What was the pretentious monologue at the end?
Where he was saying, like, we're all just Satan's little helpers in the end, and the lies and the truth don't really mean anything.
Yeah, but that was all balls, isn't it?
No, it was, but, like, it's essentially what you're saying.
No, I'm not at all. That's
I don't want to get into it, but I'm just saying...
Hang on, why don't we want to get into what I have to say?
No, we can get into what you have to say.
Oh, I see.
I don't want to debate whether McAvoy was saying...
Oh, yeah, fine. No, that's fine. No, because what I'm saying is about the spy thing is, in the end, a lot of the characters do have like a sort of a twisted honour, and hardly anybody in really good spy movies ends up going, "Oh, we've all just been used by people, haven't we?" It's like, no, it's that they all know that's what's happening when they go into it, and they all give themselves up to it because they genuinely believe that being used and moved around like pawns and being asked to die for some daft microfilm is worth it. Like, they all believe that, and the reason that that's so powerful is it's dumb, it's daft, but it's true. Like, that's why people went through all this crap. And the reason that McAvoy is it's like, oh, McAvoy's in Berlin because he really likes Berlin and acting like a tit. And the reason that Theron does what Theron does is because she likes hanging out in hotel rooms and wearing expensive clothes and going dancing and shagging other agents. But that's not why people don't get into it to do that. It's like when Bond is on a mission, right? The whole point about Bond films is they go, we've got a problem, right? And the Americans reckon it's, this is the problem. But Bond's like, well, all right, the Americans can bugger around in whatever, California.
I'm going to go to the
Caribbean
and speak to the guy with claws for hands.
To see if he's behind the clawed hand murder, right?
Pretty sure the flipper-handed villain.
Right, but the point about Bond is he's like basically a private detective almost. He's there to figure out what's going on, who's on whose side, what's happening, and everybody he talks to is like lying to him or helping him or whatever, but it's all like propelling him forward towards an answer. But in her case, it's like she drops in, it's like, hey, it's a crazy city and nobody knows what's going on, and your mission might be balls. I go, oh wow, my mission might be balls. I better just kill people that I don't understand. I don't know what the fuck was happening for most of the film. But the point is that there were what you were saying about there being no characters is actually in a spy film everybody has a character, because that's why they're there. They're not like, I am a Russian guy, I'm a German guy. They're all like, that's why you get to have conversations with like a German guy and a Russian guy and an English guy, and they can speak to each other honestly, because they're all like basically the same kind of person. That's why they were drawn into that work. That's why they're good at it. But they also have this fundamental thing that one side thinks the world is better off being run like this, and the other side thinks the world is better off being run like that. So you can't just pretend those things don't exist.
And one of the
it's
things...
not all about punching people in the face. In fact, the whole point about Cold War is it's hardly ever about punching people in the face.
And one of the things that really bothers me to some extent is that if you said that about like spy films or thrillers in general, or even James Bond, people would be like, yeah, but this is just a comic book movie about a 6-foot-tall blonde woman who's a lesbian who kills people. Like, just relax and enjoy that. Like, that's one of the criticisms that would be thrown at you. Would be like, oh man, you're taking it too seriously.
Which is fine, yeah.
Right, which is absolutely fine, but at the same time, it's not. It's a... Right. If this movie was her scissoring and shooting her way through Berlin with a series of attractive swimwear models, I'd be like, sure, fine, whatever.
Yeah, with the occasional quip.
Right.
When well
but it wasn't. So
even throwing a couple of montages to 80s music in there, go for your life.
Right.
As long as you do it well.
Right. So
don't confuse me / bore me, and then maybe listen to your record collection, you fucking bad.
But it...
The After Movie Diner with Jon Cross will return right after this.
Welcome to the Boondoggle Podcast. My name's Alex.
And I'm Dimitri, and here at the Boondoggle, we're a comedy podcast created by two pals with dark humor to entertain the masses.
Did you just finger guns me when you did that?
Absolutely, Alex.
Why would you do that?
Because finger guns are the most genuine way to get your point across when you're trying to say something absolutely, irrelevant and not believable.
I hate myself. Finger guns.
Finger guns.
He really meant it. This guy's for real.
He's so genuine. Look at this guy. I appreciate that honesty.
It's like, this guy, he's getting a promotion. He's like, what? Oh my god. Finger guns the boss. He's like, God damn, you're my boss now.
You're my boss now.
Anyways, tune into us. You can hear us on a lot of sites. iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, TuneIn, Google Play, anywhere pretty much. And be able to tune in every single Friday to hear what we have to say. Once again, signing off, my name's Alex.
I'm Dimitri.
And this is the Boondoggle Podcast.
The Quadcast with Swanee and the Quadfather.
Why don't you give us elevator pitch about your show?
The Quadcast podcast is a comedy storytelling podcast, and the content is from our lives.
So what happened? So then, what happened at the Trump rally? Was it all Hicks with just want to elect a really rich guy, or what?
There's so many black people.
Huh?
It's a good vignette,
though. It's a good opening.
Yeah, we should definitely listen to that show.
The Quadcast. Subscribe and never miss a moment.
Hey there, it's Chris from More Gooder Than, where we rate and dissect pop culture one argument at a time. I'm joined by my compadres, Corey Sasso.
What it is, home trees.
And Donnie the Big D Carr.
Que mas?
For those of you that would be joining us for the first time, Corey, Donnie, and I each take the side of some piece of pop culture and try and sway the world to agree with our opinions on which one is most goodest, with a 100% money-back guarantee to entertain you in the process. So we've done which is goodest out of the Indiana Jones trilogy.
We've also covered the twin film phenomenon like Armageddon and Deep Impact.
We've also compared and contrasted excellent Bill Paxton performances.
So if that's something that you guys like to enjoy, check us out on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, SoundCloud, and our website, mgtpodcast.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at mgtpodcast. Thanks, and check us out.
You're listening to the sweet sounds of the After Movie Diner. Support us at patreon.com/After Movie Diner. Or I'll punch you in the teats. Rate and review us on iTunes, Earthling.
Just want to take a minute to shout out some of the great shows that have been supporting us, retweeting us, liking us on social media, and helping us out with the Bruce Campbell interview and our regular After Movie Diner podcast. These guys have really been in our corner the last couple of weeks, and it's been great to get to know them. So a big shout out to Poop Culture Podcast, at Poop Culture on Twitter. Randy from the Miserable Retail Slave over at mretailslave on Twitter. Bobcat, also known as at BumwineBob from the Bumming with Bobcat Booze podcast. That is on iTunes if you want to take a listen. They're fantastic. Ice and the Face and Weird Science DC on Twitter. They're fantastic. EMZT Productions at EMZT Radio, which is another great podcast. The Pod Couple, the fantastic Pod Couple, at the Pod Couple on Twitter. Check them out wherever podcasts are found. David, the producer, who is the producer for the Unwritable Rant podcast, and he's on Twitter at Behind the Rant. At Blockbuster Cast on Twitter. That's Blockbuster Mentality for the Blockbuster Mentality podcast. Dean Andrews podcast over at Dean Show on Twitter. Kung Fu Drive-In podcast at Kung Fu Drive-In on Twitter. Check them out. The Grind Bin podcast at GrindPod on Twitter. And many, many other wonderful people. Too many to list right now, but some fantastic podcasts who have helped us out in the last couple of weeks. Very grateful to be part of the Podden family with those awesome shows. Please do check them out. And also, while you're at it, rate and review the shows on iTunes. One of the best ways to support a show completely free of charge to yourself is to go over to iTunes and write a damn good review for them. In fact, write any kind of review for them. Doesn't have to be good. Just the rating and the reviewing on iTunes counts. Anyway, back to the show now, and thanks.
But there's two things. First of all, the whole McAvoy red herring thing.
Right. Which again is like, I wonder if it won't be McAvoy.
They set it up at the beginning for her to go get McAvoy, and then we're all like surprised that she got McAvoy. So that was the first thing that didn't make any sense. And the second thing was at the end she's like, oh my god, they've been listening to everything I've said. McAvoy's been bugging me. And yet, halfway through when she's not shagging the bird, the French bird, and the French bird's like, let me tell you something about personal, she turns up the radio because she thinks she might be bugged. Yet she is surprised later on when she is being bugged.
Yeah, you know, the tearing up the hotel room scene, the timing of that made no sense either, because it was like, after she's already discovered everything and everything that's happening, then she runs back to the hotel room and tears the hotel room apart to find the bug. They know everything, you know everything, so what are you doing wasting your time looking for the bug?
But why 20
Yours
minutes?
is a larger question.
Why 20 minutes earlier did you go, oh, I'm being bugged, I better turn up the radio?
I agree.
Also, secondly, why did you not then check your hotel room for bugs? Thirdly, while being duplicitous and bugging each other might be interesting on paper, rendering it in montages covered in 80s music where McAvoy listens to what you were saying and you listen to what McAvoy is saying because you're bugging him and he's bugging you, that's just repeating scenes we've already seen. Like,
oh yeah, that did happen, didn't it?
That was 3 times.
Weird. Yeah,
it happened like 3 times.
Yeah, that was weird.
We know she's recording everything because we keep seeing lingering shots of her midriff while she tapes a fucking microphone onto it.
Yeah, that happened 3 times.
I'm like,
didn't it?
I get it, Theron. You're happy to be nude in this movie. Congratulations, you've got 15-year-old boys looking at your knobs. I get it. Great, wonderful. And oh, how daring. A lesbian sex scene with a French woman. Which, by the way, at this point, is so massively passé, it's ridiculous. Like, maybe if she was a Dutch hairdresser who had one leg and a cleft face, maybe then. But
I really want to see your action for it. I really, really do.
But a sexy French...
It would have to be like a secret French agent with a cleft face and one called Avocado.
Also,
that would be the name of your French agent.
This is a scene that happens in the movie. She goes into a nightclub. The Russians gave her a business card. Don't worry about it. It's boring. She goes into a nightclub.
What the fuck? Hi, just before we kill you, have a business card. Right. In case you need to find us after we kill you.
Russian guy comes up to her, right?
Yeah.
Has a series of back and forth sentences that mean nothing, and actually at one point sounded like they were quoting song lyrics. And I was like, so wait a minute, because all that went through my mind is like, this is either spy speak, like, oh, it's particularly inclement for this time of August or whatever.
Your reverence.
Like they do in spy films where they say things, right? But there wasn't enough of that for me to be like, oh, he didn't walk over and go, oh, I see you brought your umbrella or anything like that. Like, there was nothing to like give me the nod and the wink. He just sashayed over and I'm like, isn't this the guy she's looking for? Like what?
Yeah, that was,
And then it went back and forth where she was just like, oh, and I don't know what you're talking about, and I guess we're all looking for the same thing. And I'm like, well, none of this means anything. Then the French bird, right, who's been taking pictures of her or whatever,
who she knows is following
her and doesn't seem
because earlier she says, who's that woman following me? She's like, oh yeah, you're totally French and I don't know you.
Right.
But you saw her and
no, but she comes over and somehow she knows that she needs saving for this Russian guy even though she doesn't, so she pretends that they're together, right? She then goes over and she's like, hey, should we get out of here and hang out tonight and go to my club and blah, 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 blah. And Theron's like, no, I can't tonight. I'm like, God, this dialogue is painful. And then she was like...
And then she goes home. He's like, so wait, you went to the Russian club. Here's my thing about that, right? She goes to the Russian club to meet a Russian, whereupon she meets the Russian that she's looking for, who she then blows off in order to hang out with a French chick, who she also blows off.
So the French
what's the plan here,
but wait a minute, it gets even more. The French chick is then come to my nightclub tomorrow night then. So then later on, like, we see more stuff happen. Hang on, we see more stuff happen. She gets back to her hotel. She's
come at a dead end. I don't know what to do.
She sits down, and then there's like this voiceover, as if we've all forgotten what just fucking happened. And the French bird goes, come to my nightclub
tomorrow
night. And she's like, oh yeah, I might go to the nightclub.
I'm in a dead end here.
So then,
wait, I've got another business card. My agent skills involve waiting for people to give me business cards and then going to that location.
But then, hang on, this is all like one long sequence.
I know.
So then she goes to the hotel room. Then she's like, "Oh, come to my nightclub." Flashback from the scene we just saw. And she's like, "Oh, I think I will." So she shows up at the nightclub in yet another
And she's waiting for her.
expensive.
She's waiting for with her drink with fresh ice. Which means every hour she's like, "No, the ice is melting. You better get me a fresh one."
But anyway, so Theron shows up in yet another fucking runway dress, so I'm not really sure. Like, they imagine as well the set director, like the set dresser, like they've gone, "Oh, get us a nightclub set. We need this, this, and this." And the scene that takes place is she walks in, goes over to the bar. The woman's like, "Should we get out of here?" And I'm like, "Wait." So then they go to another room. It's just like a red room, right, in this nightclub, where they make out. The French bird reveals everything that she is. Then they make out again, cut to sex scene. So it's like all of that is utterly irrelevant. Completely irrelevant. Also, there's a bit, talking about nightclubs and how shit's utterly irrelevant in this movie, there's a bit where McAvoy is bugged and she is bugged, and they both go to an extraordinarily noisy nightclub with one of the most irritatingly edited entrances into a nightclub thing ever, where for some reason out of nowhere the director decides to speed up everything and film it from a Dutch angle.
I thought the film broke. I did, because it was like, hang on. Because it's like one of those things where sometimes when you're like streaming something, the film speeds up, but and I was like, "Oh, that's what's happened here."
No,
and I'm not like taking the piss. I was like, "Oh, it's a clever trick."
Yeah.
No, wait a minute. I think the film might be broken.
So
no, it is a clever trick.
So then, he's talking to her and she's talking to him. Not that they'd be able to hear anything that either of them is saying. And by the way, a loud nightclub, not a great place to have a covert conversation, because you'd literally be shouting over the music the whole time, unless you could read lips or sign language or semaphore or something. Anyway, later on, in order to frame McAvoy, she then edits bits of that conversation into another conversation, and at no point do the British agents go, "Wait a minute, why was there nightclub music over the 3 sentences in the middle of that conversation?" Oh, well, no, it's 1989. I managed to get pinpoint perfect audio and remove the background using a fucking tape and some fucking...
You're right, I totally missed that. Are you a trader? No, I'm not a trader. Wait, hang on, he's a trader. We heard him say it just there. No. Clearly, the ambient sound says these are two very different. Just shoot her in the head.
Right. So anyway, like that doesn't make any sense. So, and the thing is you can see the whole thing. You're like, oh, well, it's meant to be stylistic and it's meant to be a comic book and it's meant to be... Okay, fine. It's meant to be all those things. But in which case...
Don't be shared.
But in which case, therefore, what you're saying is we want to make a film in which everyone is like a caricature and everyone is achingly cool and smoking cigarettes and wearing dark glasses at night and all that. No, I'm just good with some water.
I might have another cup of tea.
Plain tea?
Yeah, the Earl Grey that you bought last time. It's fine. Thank you.
In which everyone is a caricature and everyone is stylistic and none of it matters and da-da-da-da-da. In which case, first of all, you're making one long music video. And secondly, if you really want to make that film, have a to B driving, simple action film. Like, I kept watching this film and I kept going like, I've seen some bad action films. Like, I've seen some 80s and 90s action films.
You more than most, probably.
Right. But they're all watchable because they all go, here's your bad guy, here's your good guy, and troubles will be overcome, and in the end, the good guy will get the bad guy. And it doesn't really matter what kind of variation you do of it, where you set it, who the good guy is, who the bad guy is.
Thank you very much. Lovely, thanks.
Invariably, here's your A, there's your B, and at the end of it, you are... Even if it's been shit, even if the action sequences haven't lived up to the promise of the trailer, even if the acting is wooden, there's some feeling of like, oh great, we're done. Splendid. Evil has been vanquished, and good will go on to wear some more tight denim.
The camera pans back.
Right.
Fields.
Right. And it's the same thing with the James Bond thing, or
Yeah.
Scooby-Doo or the A-Team or any of
I see, Minister. I've got to keep the British end up.
Right, or whatever it is. But no, like any of those things...
Does he mean his cock?
Is he talking about his
He's
willy?
talking about his cock, Prime Minister.
I think he's
making a knob joke. Bond is known for that. He's very good
at
saving the world, but he does make an awful lot of
does
knob
talk
jokes.
about his penis rather a lot. Maybe we could do an ill-advised series at the early 2000s, late 90s, where like women psychologists keep pointing out to him that maybe he talks about his penis too much and completely ruin the Bond franchise. Maybe we could cast that Remington Steele guy. Anyway.
He is good, though. He is good. And you watch back the Brosnan films and you go, what a great choice. What a great pick. You knocked it out of the park, Barbara Broccoli.
Yeah, right.
Babs.
Babs Broccoli.
Babs, I like that Brosnan. I feel like, I don't know this, but like Babs feels to be like, she ought to be like £800.
We
and then
found
Heavy's
out-
going, I like that Brosnan.
We found
Brosnan
out
in the Bond film.
We found out. You know the famous story about Brosnan.
Yeah.
How like Remington Steele like dicked him over by going, "Quick, we better do season 5 because he's about to jump ship." Right. So they like kept him to his contract even though they weren't. We found out there was an actress who was also in Remington Steele that didn't get the part in like Indiana Jones or something like that because she was doing Remington. I forget who it was, but it's like she missed out on like $1 million movie because she was doing. And I was like, were the producers of Remington Steele just going through Hollywood, signing contracts, being like, now they can't do anything to make any money? Also, have you ever met anyone who's ever actually seen an episode
No,
of
I've
Remington
never
Steele?
seen an episode of Remington
No
Steele.
one has ever seen it.
I think I might have
it-
tuned in once, and there was like Brosnan's weird hairy chest on like silver sheets or something. I remember thinking, ugh, and then I changed the channel, and that's my only like memory of Remington Steele.
Because what I don't understand is, growing up, we watched, you know, some god awful stuff, but like we watched some good stuff as well. But we watched like the
You watch
A-Team,
Knight
and
Rider
Hulk,
again, you
and
go,
Knight Rider,
Knight Rider's awful.
and MacGyver,
The
and
A-Team's brilliant.
Charlie's Angels and stuff, and even like Columbo and Banachek and things like various stuff where you're just like, oh, okay. Magnum PI, you name it. Like we saw a lot of that stuff. Never seen Remington Steele.
Never seen Remington
Never
Steele.
heard of it. Never seen it. Have no idea what it's about.
Maybe it was only invented to keep Brosnan from being Bond, in which case it failed.
No, but in which case it succeeded long enough for us to get 2 amazing Dalton movies.
Yeah, but then we did have to sit through the rest of the Brosnan ones.
Yeah, so anyway, what was I saying?
I know, we were just talking about bad spy movies, and
It was
got
awesome.
the Brosnan.
So, but no, what I was going to say is basically all the ones...
action films. And how
No,
they
but all the series that are basically the same each week, whether it's...
No, but I know we got there.
No, but I was talking about Bond, I was talking about the A-Team, I was talking about Scooby-Doo.
No, you weren't. Before, what got us here was you
No,
were saying...
I know where we came from. I'm not going into this bit.
Oh, I see. You're moving back, and then you'll move back further still.
No,
You're
I'm just talking about what I was talking about.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I'd just like to keep score.
I was just saying that I started to think
Thank you very much.
throughout this film, I'm like, what makes the usual formula
right
that has, you know, in the case
You're
of
right,
Bond,
you were going there, I apologise.
has worked for like 50 years or whatever.
Right.
But all equally, like that Bond formula it can equally be applied to multiple different types of action films.
Yeah.
But what makes that
It's
formula
a private detective with a airplane ticket.
But what makes it successful? And you start running through the thing, and you're like, well, because it's not always the script, because the script isn't always great. It's not always the direction that's always great. But like essentially, it's the character. So you have to like have established the character up until a point, right? Yeah. Even if it's, you know, he drinks martinis, he drives an Aston Martin, he sleeps with girls, and he carries a Walter PPK. Like stuff has to inform things about the guy, right, or the woman, or whoever it is, about the main the guy in the universal meaning of the word.
You're sexist. You're a big hairy sexist.
Right. I am, you know. And I'm talking about my penis because it's big, hairy, and sexist.
Yeah, it's like sexist.
Well, it's sexist because it only likes women.
I'm sorry.
So, it has to inform something about the character. So you have to have a character, and then you have to have someone with charisma being in the role. And then really,
go for your life.
You can kind of surround it with anything. Like, the first 10 Steven Seagal movies work, and Steven Seagal can't fucking act his way out of a sock. He has absolutely no charisma, but like, they work up until a point because the character is interesting enough so-and-so. His martial arts are like interesting enough, and they've surrounded him with enough whiz-bangery and a bad guy and things you can understand that, you know, his being lumbering Aikido-doing orangutan in a vest is worth watching for like the first few films. The problem with this is that if you just want to make it a very staid and simple comic book action movie, and none of the things we're talking about in terms of plot and in terms of
none of that
characters and in terms of spy movies and anything that if none of that matters, then you have to have a lead with charisma, a lead with a character that we like remotely care about, so that like when she's in jeopardy, we care about her being in jeopardy.
Seagal is like, I'm getting revenge, or I'm protecting this kitten, or if I don't do it now, the president will die. Like, there's something at stake. But Charlize is like, if hypothetically she went, you know what, I'm bored, I'm going home,
it wouldn't have mattered.
It wouldn't have mattered. Like,
I almost got up and went home.
Yeah, I was very close.
So, and what? Yeah, and you're right. Okay, so in the absence, that's another good point. So in the absence of charisma in your leading person or any kind of character, you have to make their...
Do you have a cat?
Sorry?
No.
But it says any kind of cat.
No.
Oh, no, character. No. In the absence of that, you have to give them a mission that means something to the audience.
Right.
So in the case of the A-Team, although the A-Team has chock full of charisma and great scripts and everything else, even though people don't believe me, go back and watch it. The scripts of the A-Team are really, really good. However, you give them something to care about. Bad guys are coming in and torching churches, or bad guys are coming in and burning down the library, or bad guys are coming in and beating up
They
someone
want control of your cab company.
For their candy.
Because that is actually a thing. Remember that one?
Yeah, Captain Cab. It's an awesome episode.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. Like, if you're Steven Seagal or you're early Jean-Claude Van Damme and you're not the most like dynamic actor on the planet, you have to be like, well, he has to save his children from a burning building, or
usually his brothers.
Right, he's trying to save his puppy or his twin brother.
Jean-Claude Van Damme, I suppose most of his movies, his early movies, like saving his brother's children. Right, is mostly.
But whatever it is, you have to have like
his brother's wife.
To substitute.
If I was Jean-Claude Van Damme's brother, I'd be worried. In the early 90s.
I'd be even more worried if I was his twin brother. We grew up opposite ends of the earth, and yet we still surprisingly had exactly the same accent. But no, that's what I mean.
I missed that. I missed their like crazy scratches for excusing his accent. Now it's like he's from Belgium. Well, come on, you can do better than that. Come on.
He's a Belgian secret agent, something that has never existed. So, but that's what I mean. Like, you have to give them a mission everyone cares about. So in this film, there's no mission anyone cares about, like, because
it's a total MacGuffin.
Well, first of all, it's a total MacGuffin. Secondly, it's not fully explained, and thirdly, all it is like, well, superpowers, huh? Yeah. She's not got any charisma, and apart from that one action sequence, which is an hour and 10 minutes into the film, there isn't even enough action to drive the plot. So people can come back at me and go, oh, but I really loved it and da-da-da-da-da, because they got swept up in the 80s music and the smoking and Charlize Theron being a hot blonde or whatever. Like, all right, fine. Like, if that's really all that engages you in a film, have at it. And I can't argue with that. But, like, you can't, like, a lot of people came back to me with Baby Driver, was sort of like, yeah, but I liked the character and I thought it was sweet about the romance and da-da-da-da-da, and stuff that I didn't like. And I went, all right, well, I kind of get that, because at least there was some attempt in Baby Driver, although we saw through and we didn't like it, there was at least some attempt to kind of go, well, this is who this guy is and this is who that guy is, and they're going to go from here and this is their thing.
Yeah, no, it made this Baby Baby Driver. Well, I hate Baby Driver.
It hugely fell apart. There was massive things wrong with Baby Driver, and I'll never see it the way that its supporters do. But you can't, I'm sorry, you can't come to me. It's impossible that you can come to me and say that in Atomic Blonde that she's charismatic, that you either know, understand, or care about the mission, and that the film had enough action in it or enough momentum in it
for the absence of those things to matter.
Right. Because it doesn't. Like, you might as well have been listening to Now That's What They Call Music 1989 while someone a bit nonchalant smokes in the corner. Like, that would be exactly underneath a neon light, possibly wearing some Yves Saint Laurent or whatever. Like, that would be exactly the same experience and a lot cheaper.
Yeah, I really go. I completely agree. I mean, it was.
So I'm not like I think a lot of people were just like, well, they watched Baby Driver, they thought it was hipster, and so they slagged it off. I'm really not doing that. I went in, I sat through the first 20 minutes of Atomic Blonde going, please be better than this. Please be better than this. Like, it started off and I'm like, Berlin, Charlize-Theron is an assassin, Bowie's playing, you know, there's cool 80s cars, there's some news footage. I'm like, I'm on board with this, guys. Like, this is great. Like, bleh. And then I'm like, it's not working. Like, panic set in, and I'm like, it's not working. It's going to be another shit film. And I spent 30 minutes, at least the first act of the movie, going, like, please get better than this. Please, like, I think people think I go in and go, oh, this is bound to be shit because it's a modern action movie and blah. And I'm some kind of grumpy hipster who's just
because
moaning
we
about
like
stuff.
lots of films. We even tried to nearly like Dark Tower. Nobody liked Dark Tower. We love The Bagman and nobody liked The Bagman. No, we like films if they're well done and they've got interesting characters and they do things that surprise us and entertain us. And more than anything...
It's exactly the same price, by the way.
Oh, wow. If they make us laugh. Like, occasionally. But there was no irony or humour or anything in the film. There was nothing that was, like, even a little bit, like...
You know the bit
we're
where...
so cool and glamorous. Everything's so cool and glamorous.
Right.
Even Fight Club was funny.
You know that bit where she starts telling... Because this whole thing is told in flashback,
right?
Supposedly.
Oh god, that was painful. Wait, where are we? What's going on?
So there's that bit where she's talking about having met the French spy, and in the middle of the love scene, it cuts, and like Toby Jones is like looking through the two-way mirror, and Goodman is like bent over the chair or whatever, and it's kind of like they're both like as if like she was telling them that like they had sex, and I thought, here is at least an opportunity, although it wouldn't be the funniest gang on the planet, to have them, I don't know, mop their brow or like waft themselves like they were getting hot under the collar hearing about lesbians or something like that. Like, here's at least a moment where you can kind of like stick a little bit of humour.
Yeah, I was expecting that.
Basic Instinct like has them all like sweating and pulling at their collar and whatever. Like, at least do that. But they just were like, so I guess you made the French contact then. And she's like, well, obviously. And you're like, well, oh. Can we cut back to McAvoy being a punchable tit, please? Because I haven't had enough of that in the first 10 minutes of this movie. Hello, I'm McAvoy and I bloody love everything.
Jack Daniels, Jack Daniels. Oh, I'm crazy, mate. Whoa.
Meanwhile, I'm going to walk around dressed like
That's what he was. He was like the spy. I'm a little bit whoa, a little bit whoa. You know,
he was abysmal. Like, this was reason enough to go up to McAvoy and if I was the Screen Actors Guild, go, nope, sorry, I'm taking your card away, you're out, you're gone. And then go, oh, but I was in Atonement and I was in X-Men and I was, I'm sorry, but this has erased all that.
Which wasn't
none of them were any good. I'm just saying, like, people liked those, so I'm
trying to think of things that he was in that I did like him in. It must have happened.
I hate him in X-Men. I have no time for those movies at all. And it's a shame because I like Matt.
Could we talk about Fassbender, who I like as an actor very much, being possibly the most... We were watching this trailer, right, for this movie called The Snowman or something, and I was sure halfway through, this is taking the piss, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is... Because it kept cutting in, but there kept being voices and Fassbender going, he's playing with us. All we need is the final pieces for the puzzle, and...
He's crazy.
He's a lunatic.
He's
completely insane. It was just like every cliche
screaming no and like rattling things.
That's right. Oh, and his family burned alive. That clearly happened to him. He's like his family burned to death in a house. Okay, every cop's family burns to death in a house. Come on. He's completely insane.
I like that.
It was
everybody's family burns to death in a house. Come on,
they do. Every lone bloody cop,
except Murtaugh's, they're constantly saved by Riggs and his ways.
Honestly, you'd have to watch the trailer for The Snowman. You would not believe
how
many cliches they managed to squeeze into one trailer.
He's called the Snowman Killer, and I don't care. No matter how hard you try, you're never going to make that terrifying. There's literally a line.
What's Fassbender up to? Because there's that.
No, hang on. There's
Sorry,
literally a
go on.
line at the beginning of the trailer where they were like, he kills people, he takes their heads, and he leaves pictures of snowmen everywhere. How terrifying.
Even takes their heads.
No one's ever done that in a movie before. I'm shocked.
Stunned. Have you seen Assassin's Creed?
No.
I thought this is going to be a perfect airplane movie. Fassbender, Assassin's Creed, sign me up.
No.
It's so weird. And like, what is Mike Fassbender and Marion Cotillard in, like, Assassin's...
In murdering French women's
no, it's
names.
like computer nonsense is basically what
No,
it was. Right, but it was bull.
I was making a joke of how you didn't say Marion Cotillard properly.
How did I say it?
You were like, Marion Cotillard.
I said Marion Cotillard. I thought that's what it was.
No, she's not like Cottage Yard.
No, okay. Well, but I like Fassbender, and I'd like the idea of Fassbender doing like daft B movies. But not Assassin's
but
Creed or whatever the fuck that was.
all the trailers before this movie were...
Yeah, that was a clue, wasn't it? That is
So
true.
no, what did we
right?
saw? We saw The Snowman, ridiculous
Garbage.
thriller garbage. You got Gary Oldman playing Winston Churchill
But, like,
in
he
a
can't stop sounding like Gary Oldman.
in a story.
In a fat suit.
In a story.
So Gary
that
Oldman in a fat suit.
They must have. Yeah, he looks like.
You're never going to get an Oscar in a fat suit.
He looks like fat bastard from the Austin Powers films. You've got. But
you want me to play Winston Churchill in a fat suit, Gary? In a fat suit.
I understand that in 2017, right now in America, that we are unfortunately and despicably facing down the Nazis again. I didn't think I'd be saying it, but we are. It's a shame, but it is. That doesn't mean we need a fucking.
But wait, who was Winston Churchill? What did he do?
Yeah.
Like, what was his deal?
Okay.
Yeah,
First
what
of
was he
all,
thinking?
First of all, we've
Did
had
they win the war?
Right, we've had a million Churchill stories. Secondly, once Albert Finney's played Churchill and knocked it out of the park, give up.
Yeah, stop.
Give up.
Stop
Stop
doing
right
it.
now. Thirdly, can we please stop with the World War II fucking stuff? Can we Dunkirk and fucking Churchill and fucking... Can we just...
Well, I haven't seen Dunkirk.
It doesn't matter.
I'm
I don't
not
need
interested,
to.
though.
I
And
don't
do
need
like
to
Nolan
see it.
films. I do.
I don't
know,
like
I'm with you. No, and I know we're never going to be... But I
And fuck
really
Joe
like...
Wright films as well.
Well,
fucking
agreed.
Atonement and fucking Churchill and fucking...
No, I agree.
Just
Fuck Joe Wright.
Fuck
I
all
agree.
these films.
But I do like all... except for Insomnia, I like all Christopher Nolan films. I haven't seen Insomnia in a while.
I
had
like
a terrible
Insomnia.
script. I had a terrible script. But I wouldn't mind seeing it again.
Insomnia and The Prestige are the only two Nolan
I
films
fucking
I
hate
do
The Prestige
like.
as well. No, fuck The Prestige and fuck...
You can't fuck The Prestige because it's got
fuck The
it's got
Prestige.
Kane in it.
Fuck The Prestige.
Listen, what you have to do.
What
is
you got to do is better magic.
Do better magic.
I don't care how you do it, what nefarious means. All I want is better magic.
Kill people,
Right?
it's fine.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
It's
Better
fine.
magic.
Kill a metaphor if you like. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. I like that, and I like parts of the two Batman films, but the third one's awful. But generally, Nolan can go. Fuck
I like
it.
Nolan, but my point is, even though I like Nolan, and I'm not averse to war films, but it's like I didn't feel. I'm not interested in Dunkirk.
The only okay, look. We've literally said all we need to say about World War II, right?
Yes.
There has literally been...
If I was German, I'd be like, could you shut the fuck
Could you stop?
up World War II, please?
First of all, there's documentaries up the way.
We get it.
There's
Really-
books all over the place. There's a bazillion fucking movies. There's... And I'm talking about like the true life ones. People have forgotten, right? People have forgotten that war films used to be tales of daring do with like funny characters and interesting adventure and dressing up and accents and madness, and like they starred Burton and Eastwood and people hung off like rocks and cable cars and fought Nazis, and it was awesome. Now we've got ones about like why don't we make ones about the ponderous dark truth of war and who really was Churchill, and you know Stalin's mustache, what's the metaphor behind that?
Although to be fair,
Wait.
Have you seen the trailer for the Armando Iannucci Stalin film?
No.
We need to see that trailer.
Everyone said that to me about In the Loop and Veep and lots of others, and I'm like,
No. I think well, then maybe you won't if you don't like that. But the Jeff and Stein. First of all, it's got brilliant people in it.
I'm sure. I don't.
But what's great about it is, and I really, really like this. All the brilliant people in it are, even though they're all playing Russians, they're all just doing their own accents. So like Jason Isaac is just a Yorkshireman, but playing like a Russian general. And it's got people in it. It's got Jeffrey Tambor, but he's American.
Right.
It's just got. They're just trying to be funny, and it looks like slapstick and
well, maybe I like it.
desperate.
Anyway.
I thought it looked brilliant.
Anyway.
Really, really funny.
I'm just saying, like
that's a World War II film I'll see. Do you know what I mean? That I will watch.
Right. But in general, like enough already.
No, I agree. But that's
in fact, do you know the other thing that really, the one other thing, like, no, two last things. First of all, can we have some like movies that are like interesting and exciting, please? Like, can we just have some like good films?
It's controversial. What's the last good new film you saw? I'm going to try and think about this too.
The last good new film I saw.
Yeah. You didn't have to go, meh, but okay. Because I enjoyed.
I don't know. I'd have to go through.
I don't know. I'm trying to think. I mean, I enjoyed Rogue One, and I enjoyed the Star Wars movie. But at the same time, I'm going, yeah, but it's not as good as it could have been.
Well, it's got Droopy Face, Trip Meister General in it.
Which one?
The lank-haired, stroppy Darth Strop. Like
Darth yeah. But more than that, like I just feel like I'm like having to like shut half of my brain down to not like nitpick about the like. There's quite a lot.
What was the last
films?
Like great new movie I saw?
I'm trying to think.
And it doesn't like I can't really kind of say Statham films and stuff because like
like a film that's like no, this is good.
Like a film.
I'm trying to think what because I did watch all the Oscar films. I really like La La Land. Actually.
Yeah, but I wonder if it holds up to repeat viewing. Because I liked it. I liked it.
Yeah, maybe not
on the surface, but does it hold up to?
But I did really. I know. Well, no, but going to cinema and watching a film, I really like La La Land.
Me too. I did like that, but I didn't like. I did like it, but I didn't like. I wouldn't.
I know what you mean, but it's not really our cup of tea. It's not like a more musical set in Hollywood, please. But like if they made this film well, I'd be like more films starring kick-ass babes in the Cold War. I'd be down with that. But I'm not down.
I liked Birdman.
What, the Keaton one?
Yeah.
I loved Birdman.
Yeah.
I went back and watched it after.
I watched it the other night.
Yeah, it is really good.
It is. It skirts the line of pretentious occasionally, but it is still really good.
But it's just reaching for something, though.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah.
Which I like.
That's really good.
Yeah,
I did like that. Iron Man 3, but I feel like I've said that a lot. And also,
no, fair play, Iron Man 3.
New movie anymore.
I did like Wonder Woman, although it wasn't...
I haven't seen it.
It wasn't... It was fun. I mean, I sat there, but then I feel like a lot of Marvel films.
Again, I'm listing films that are like 3 or 4 years old now. I'm trying to
like with Marvel films as well, I feel like with Marvel films, I sit there and I go like, okay, there's going to be a lot of this, I'm probably going to enjoy it. Like even with Doctor Strange, I was like, I'm going to enjoy it. And that's about the level.
I don't know. When was the last time we did a new film on the show that we really liked?
I'm trying to think.
Anyway,
we both really like The Trust, but that's a few years old now.
The Trust. That was the last one I really liked. That's
like surprising and yeah.
That's the last one I really liked.
Okay, fair point. I would probably go along with that. I'm trying to think.
The last one I genuinely liked. And I liked the 3 Neeson ones. I liked Non-Stop and I liked Run All Night.
Yeah, that was a good one.
And Taken One, but I mean that's
Walk Among the Tombstones.
Walk Among the Tombstones.
Yeah.
So I like those 4 Neeson ones.
Yeah, I'm down with Neeson.
I'm trying to think because I used to like a lot of the ones that Clooney did, but I haven't liked any of his in a long while.
The American was really good.
Yeah, that's a long time ago.
Yeah, but that's a good long time. His ears were beginning to get old man. You know, he's getting like old man ears.
Michael Clayton is the best film. Like Michael Clayton, him and Michael Clayton is just incredible. Yeah. And I remember seeing the follow-up that the same writer-director did, and it was awful.
Yeah.
Oh, one that I thought it wouldn't be your cup of tea, But War on Everything with Skarsgård and Michael Pena, done by there's like is it the McDonald brothers or the McDonough brothers? They do. One of them did Calvary, which we didn't like at all.
Oh yeah, and the other one did.
But they did The Guard. They did Seven Psychopaths.
Yeah.
It's one of them. I don't know which one. It's called War on Everything, and it's essentially it's a bit of a parody on the cop with no regard for anyone but his partner, but kind of dialed up to 11, but actually done pretty well.
Well, that sounds like Calvary guy, because I think Martin, who's the one that did In Bruges and Seven Psychopaths, he's the one that's doing the Billboards one, I think, with Frances McDormand, that's going to come out.
Yeah, but I liked War on Everything. It was so much better than Calvary, which we didn't
fair
like.
enough.
And I loved The Guard. The Guard was great.
Yeah.
But I liked War on Everything. That's probably... Oh, and I liked that one that came out on Netflix recently. I don't feel...
Oh yeah, I couldn't get with that.
Something in the World no more. I
couldn't get with that.
I like that one.
No, but that's fine. I can see why you would like that, but I couldn't get on board with it. But I can
those
see
are
why
two.
you would
Anyway,
like it.
we've gone an hour and a half.
Oh yeah, sorry.
So it's 11 o'clock. Wow.
But I would happily watch more, because I think the Cold War is ripe for examination. Right? Because the whole okay, very quickly, the whole purpose or the whole problem with the world right now in America and in Britain and all over is two sets of people who don't talk to each other, right? And they're like, well, they're alien and I don't understand them and they're wrong, right? Both sides are just saying that about the other side, right? With some legitimacy on both sides, or they wouldn't feel that way. But the whole point about Cold War films, right, is that nobody's a hero. When they made those little Cold War films, and maybe because, I don't know, maybe the British perspective is a bit different, but I felt like there were American Cold War films in the same way. Whereas, nobody's saying that, Russians are evil. It's just we can't let that be the way things are done, right? And all the films are like that. They're like ugly little people, but very human people. They're not hi, I'm really sexy. They're quite kind of ugly, gribbly people, trying to kind of get one over, but only tiny little victories and battles. But it's all just, and everybody involved is this is a game, and the stakes are incredibly high. But it's all just a fucking lousy game being played by these governments, because this game is preferable to all-out nuclear war. What we're doing is nonsense, obviously, but it matters because we have to decide that this matters, or else we're in deep fucking shit. But there's always common humanity. Whenever they're talking to a guy on the other side of the wall or Russians, it's always what you've got in common with that guy,
right?
How you're all doing it together.
I just can't watch movies that are that brown and beige and grey.
No, I agree. I'm not talking about that anymore. I'm talking
because I watched the remake of Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, and I was just
ball, because that's just again, fuck that shit. I'm saying, I think that conflict.
I understand.
Unlike World War II, it was we get it, Nazis bad,
Right. No, but this
Allies
again.
But you can re-examine it, because the whole purpose of going back and re-examining things is it's supposed to speak to your time, and that late 80s and early 90s, that kind of fall of communism and what's it all going to be that's a really ripe time to be talked about and discovered, and it would help us realise that even though you've got two sides with fundamental different views on how the world should be run, which is exactly what's happening all over the world. They're always there's always humanity, and there's people, and they're trying to, they understand that they're the same people. They're just locked in these systems. I don't know. I'm just saying those are, and it doesn't have to be people in beige rooms talking and smoking. It could be people punching other people in the face.
Right.
I'm just saying it's an interesting time to be, an interesting thing to examine. But this was not that movie, and it so could have been. And someone needs to make a film that's set in Berlin, around the fall of the Berlin Wall, with plenty of Bowie music and kick-ass action scenes, because clearly they haven't made it.
And by the way, considering it was also the age of MTV and the rise of capitalism and all the rest of it, all the style in this movie could have been completely and utterly justified because of the decade.
Yes, agreed. Yeah, it could have been, because the 80s was quite.
If there was something going on in it, or people that you cared about, or something that you could hang a hat on, but there was nothing. There was There was nothing, and I people are going to come at me and go, "But John, it was cool, and I enjoyed the bit where she threw people downstairs." And I'm like, "Yeah, I enjoyed that bit as well." But like, there's,
there's other films where people throw other people downstairs.
This is what's so frustrating. Is if I say to someone, "Oh, I like Killer Elite," the Jason Statham, Clive Owen movie, which is first of all not only based on like a really cool book, but also is like a damn strong.
Yeah,
like
I really
spy thriller.
Yeah, it was a good movie.
Right, with like money involved.
It's definitely up there in that golden
whatever.
period. Hey, Statham films are brilliant.
Right,
like the bank job and all that.
Right, but like, it has three main characters, all with like different agendas. It has the unfortunate situation where like Statham has to essentially wipe out some of his own that he doesn't want to do. It's got like twists and turns. It's got a bit of detective stuff in it. It's set in the 80s, so it's like all cool cars and rainy England and all the rest of it. Like, it's shot really well. It's got kick-ass action scenes. It's got a plot everyone can understand. It's got Clive Owen with like a moldy eye. Like, it's really like it's like a really strong, good movie with a bit of everything in it for everybody. And if I say that, people are like, Statham. But people are going to rant and rave about Atomic Blonde, and I'm like, and I think that's what frustrates me, is that it's not that I'm so highbrow that I watch something like Atomic Blonde and poo-poo it. We both reasonably enjoyed The Mechanic too. It was badly written and weirdly shot, but like the action sequences were good, and Statham was doing
we have to part ways there. I did not like Mechanic. I like The Mechanic. No, I'm with you there. But not Mechanic.
When we talked about it, you liked it. Anyway.
Well, I guess I liked silly parts of it, but no. I mostly remember being quite annoyed at shelling out 15 quid, going and seeing it on my day off, and it being not very good.
Anyway, I'm just saying, I would watch Mechanic.
But I wasn't sitting there going, "Blur, why aren't they discussing the geopolitical ramifications of modern day blur, whatever?" Right. I was going, why isn't there better fighting? Is what I was thinking. Why does this make no sense? I liked the bit at the beginning with the fucking,
Actually, the fighting in it is the only good thing in it. But anyway.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. The fighting is good.
The bit is that you're like, why is Jessica Alba in the movie?
Yeah.
That's the bit where you're like, this makes no sense.
Yeah.
But all I'm trying to say
Shark repellent, really?
All I'm trying to say is that there are...
okay, you're not...
There are movies I can get behind, and I'm not a snob, and in terms of like twisty-turny spy films with like action and stuff, I would watch Killer Elite a million times over before ever watching this again.
Agree.
And I'm just, it's because I care about, having a fun time. It's not that I care about like some mad artistic integrity or something. I just want to be entertained.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, and if in 20 minutes I'm turning on my phone and going, how long has this got to go? That's not...
When we talk about character and plot and this didn't make any sense or whatever, it's not just like, unless the character is well drawn. It's like, yeah, but like, what draws you into a movie, what makes it entertaining is when there's a good character. You don't sit there and go, what a marvellously well drawn character. You just believe what's happening. The reason films are entertaining is like a suspension of disbelief, right, which comes about.
By the way, there's really literally nothing that makes any sense about the character of Indiana Jones, except that they go, this is the character, here's some exciting stuff that he's doing, and you totally go along with it. Right. You don't halfway through go, wait a minute, isn't this meant to be like an academic archaeology professor? How is he swinging from this thing and beating up Nazis? You just go, well, he is, and away we go. Like, you don't sit there and go, well, the ramifications of whatever.
And of course, it's a complicated business, because sometimes you can have, like you're saying, not believable characters, but it's a great film. Sometimes you can have really believable characters and it's fucking dull.
Right.
Like there's no, there's just a bit of, you need that bit of magic. But
you just know when you've done it.
Yeah, exactly. You can identify if you've got, like you're saying, if you've got a character with no charisma and nothing makes any sense and it's boring as shit and there's no fighting. It's like, well, what am I supposed to be enjoying about it? And it's perfectly okay.
You're meant to be enjoying the fact that there's lots of neon, she's wearing a pretty dress, she's smoking, she may at any point punch someone or lesbian make out with someone. That's what you're meant to be enjoying. Oh, and by the way, here's some Bowie.
Which sounds much better than it is, actually.
But everything I just said, you're like, oh, I want to see that film. Don't. Cool.
Thanks, man.
Bye.
It's the Jim Wallace going again, milk break. I thought I'd sing a little song just for you. Oh, 'cause Jim Wallace is going to get some milk, mate. And so what else is a man like me to do? Oh, it's the Jim Wallace going to get milk break. It's the Jim Wallace, he's got to get milk. And he's left me sitting here with nothing else to do. 'Cause he has gone to get some milk. Milky, milky do.
Let's spend our